saying. He's in there. He's been in there so long, and I know there's something wrong. I know there's something wrong. And I just don't know if I can wait any longer. What is the doctor telling him?
Mom, let's go.
Corey, stop.
Come on, let's go.
Corey,
What?
What did the doctor say?
Nothing. It's none of your business. Let's go.
No, I'm not going to go.
Mom, you wouldn't understand. Just let go.
I would understand. Tell me what's
Mom,
going
you
on.
really want to know?
Yes, I want to know.
Why? I'm addicted to heroin. That was my life.
And that was truly my life.
I was once one of you. I was 17 years old, addicted to heroin. My junior year of high school, shooting up in the bathrooms. With 3 months left of my senior year, 3 months until I graduated, I got pulled out of school and checked in to a rehab in Southfield, Detroit.
I was one of your parents. I was somebody that was only looking forward to my son graduating high school. I had no idea. I knew there was chaos at home. I knew things were crazy. I had no idea what was going on. That day he confessed to me, it was not a laughing matter. It was my life. It stopped in front of me. I could not believe my son just told me he was addicted to heroin. People die from heroin. And this was my son. And then he was in rehab. And he was in rehab until he was about 18 years old. And he decided when he was 18 that he was going to check himself out of rehab. And the chaos at home started all over again.
And it wasn't a laughing matter for me either. I was killing myself. Literally. Killing myself. At your age. So I got out of rehab, and it didn't take long for me to get right back into drugs with the same people that I used to be involved with. Except now, I'm using more, and I'm using faster. It was only a matter of time until I got handed a 15-month jail sentence. And while I was sitting in jail, I remember clear as day, I was sitting in my cell, and I sat on the edge of my bunk, and I told myself, I said, I didn't want to be a loser anymore. I didn't want to be known as a junkie, as a drug addict. So I made a pact to myself that day, when I was sitting at the edge of my bunk, that I was never going to use drugs again. And I didn't. But I wasn't prepared for what hit me next.
I never dreamed I was going to have to go visit my son in jail. I went in and I sat with a plate glass window between myself and my son, and him in orange and white stripes. That wasn't my dream when I brought a child into the world. And I got to the point where I had no idea who he was, and I had to sever my relationship with him. I could not allow him to be in my life or in my world. And I went to bed every single night thinking he was going to die. I was the mother laying in bed wondering if he was out shooting up so much that I was going to have the police at my door in the morning saying, your son's dead. I'm sorry. So when he got out and he said, Mom, I'm never going to use again. I never want to touch another drug. I was elated. I thought, I've got my son back, right? He's beat this thing. And what I didn't know is that what happened next would take us even further down.
So I got out, never picked up drugs again. I found myself enrolled in school now, and I was working. I lived about 2 miles away from Michigan State University. Can you guys tell me what Michigan State University is known for? Parties, drinking. So I started drinking, casually at first, just on the weekends. And I could feel the acceptance that I felt through using drugs. I felt it again at parties. People liked me. I found a place where I fit in again. And I was getting the same euphoric feeling that I was getting when I was using heroin. And it's socially acceptable. It's what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to go to college and drink. So my weekend drinking turned into every single week, turned into every single day, starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. One example I'll give you of my life in that time. I went to bed at midnight. I woke up at 3 o'clock shaking so bad from the alcohol withdrawals. I knew all I needed was a couple shots. So I put my legs on the side of the bed to go to the kitchen, and my knees were shaking, and I fell to the floor. I couldn't even hold myself up. But I knew I needed to drink. So on the ground, I pushed myself all the way to the kitchen. I propped myself up, flew open the freezer, grabbed the fifth, fell right back and hit the floor, and started drinking. I went back to sleep until I got up around 7:30 to make it to the store before 8 o'clock when they opened and they could sell me liquor. I was blacked out by 10 o'clock in the morning. My days turned into weeks. My weeks turned into months. I don't remember Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, nothing. I didn't care about school, family, friends, nothing. All I cared about was when I was going to get my next bottle.
I never had a son for years. On my birthday, on holidays, I never had that child of mine. It was a really empty feeling. And I couldn't continue. As a parent, you all have parents that either worry about you or they scoop in and fix everything. I was the one that fixed everything. Every time I stepped in and fixed my child's problem, I thought I was being the best parent. I was helping them so they didn't suffer. What I didn't realize until much later was that every time I scooped in and I took care of their problems, he was learning that he couldn't take care of himself. I was loving my son to death. I literally was. And that's almost what happened. I got the phone call. Every time the phone would ring, I would say, "I love you, Corey. Call me when you're sober." Every time. And then I get a phone call. It wasn't from Corey. It was from somebody that knew him. And they said, "Jackie, your son's in the hospital. He had a seizure last night." Why? Because he wanted to stop drinking, and he tried to stop drinking on his own. He had so much alcohol in his body that his body went into a seizure. And I did. I had severed from him, but he's in the hospital. I struggled with it. Do I go see him? This is my own son who almost died. And I'm questioning whether I should go see him in the hospital. And I did. And I walked into the room, and I said, "Corey, do you have any idea what just happened?"
I said, "I think they told me that I had a seizure. I'm guessing that's why I'm here."
"Corey, do you have any idea why you had the seizure?"
"No, I have no idea, Mom."
"Corey, you drank too much."
Oh my gosh, you're always blaming it on the drinking. It's not the drinking, just
If
give
you
it
don't
up.
stop drinking, you're going to die.
Mom, it's not the drinking. I'm fine.
You're not fine. You need help.
I'm not
Corey.
getting help. Period.
I love you, son. Call me when you're sober.
And this went on for a couple more months. I had blood alcohol levels. Does anybody know what the legal blood alcohol level is? 0.08, right? I had blood alcohol levels of over 0.4. I was legally dead. So this went on for a couple more months until finally I found myself in rehab again and I hit that breaking point. I sat in rehab and I said to myself, whatever happened? Who is Corey? There was once a kid that loved to play music. I was a drummer. What happened to that person? There was once a kid who loved to play lacrosse and loved to play sports. What happened to that person? There was once a kid that loved to snowboard. Do I have any snowboarders in here? I love to snowboard. What happened to that person? So I sat there and I made a mission to myself that day that when I got out of rehab, I would figure out who I am as an individual. Who is Corey? Because I had no idea, and that's what I did. I got out and spent days, hours, weeks, months on end figuring out who I am to bring me here today.
And it sounds strange, but I had lost my identity into the world of my son's addiction. All I could do was chase after fixing him. I was constantly trying to understand how he could get better. And what I didn't understand is that I was the one that had to get better. I had to be the one, as the parent, to stop fixing him and to let him fall down and end up in the bad places he had to go to. And once I started doing that and I focused on myself, all your parents, I can guarantee most of them have lost their identity chasing around you and what you're doing. We have to come back to realize that in order to help you be the best you can be, we need to let you become self-sufficient. And I had to learn who Jackie was all over again.
My name is Jason. I was once one of you. I was the top athlete in my school with a full-ride scholarship to Louisville. Drugs and alcohol took me down.
My name's Corey. I was once one of you. I was an amazing musician and a fun kid to be around. Drugs and alcohol took me down.
And I was once one of your parents. And I was looking forward to my son going off to his prom and graduating from high school. Drugs and alcohol took my son from me, and they took my life down.
My name's Carly. I was once one of you. I was a track star, and I was somebody a lot of people looked up to. And drugs and alcohol took me down.
So we're not here to tell you what you should do and shouldn't do. We're here to simply tell you our story. The one thing that I would suggest, completely up to you, is when you go off to your prom or to the evenings where you're having fun with people, pay attention to the world around you. Be the one to notice when someone's had too much to drink and step in. Be willing to do something about it. Be the one, when you go to your prom,